All right. My name is Chad Van Handel. I'm Vice President with On Broadway. Thank you so much for coming out to our 2018 annual meeting. We had a fantastic year in 2018, but we've got even greater things in the pipeline for 2019. So we're going to need all of your help and all of your support to help continue to move this mission forward and help move this district forward. I'm going to repeat Brian a little bit. Thank you so much to our board. You guys give tirelessly and effortlessly many hours a month of helping to strategize and plan for what we want this district to be. So thank you so much for your time. The staff, again, you guys execute and you guys work hard to really develop and bring this district to be what it is. Thirdly, I want to thank our volunteers. We are a very volunteer-heavy organization, and we couldn't do it without the volunteers showing up every week with a smile on their face, ready to work, ready to pitch in. So thank you so much for everybody that's on our volunteer list and everybody that shows up to the farmers market, the Ignite market, and everything else that we ask you to help support. Fourth, I want to thank the businesses. This street is nothing without the businesses. So please, we want you to be successful for 5, 10, 15, 20 years. So if there's things that we can be doing to be better partners for you, if there's ways that we can help you be a better business, please come to us, come to Brian, come to board members. We'd love to have a conversation and talk more about what we can do and how we can help you be more successful. Lastly, again, we've got big plans for 2019, so everybody, please, if you're not a volunteer, sign up. If you're not on the mailing list, please sign up. The Broadway Beat is back, has been resurrected. We've got some great stories coming out, so please hear about what we're about. Thanks for showing up today, and with that, have a good 2019, everyone.
Thank you, Chad. Real quickly before I introduce our next guest, I would also like to thank the staff here at Gather on Broadway. So they've sponsored today's event, and they've provided some of the delicious eats that you have in front of you. Tommy and Jill, I think Tony, I saw you back there, but to the staff at Gather on Broadway, Allie as well, thank you so much for putting together this wonderful offering. And then also I would like to thank Copper Rock Coffee, who donated the coffee this morning. And so grab yourself some extra brew up there and some extra food again if you're hungry. All the food that's left over gets donated to the new community shelter afterwards. So thank you, Tommy, for making that commitment with your events. With that, it is my pleasure to introduce to you one of the greatest champions of downtown Green Bay, Mayor Jim Schmidt.
Thank you, Brian. As was said, thank all of you for being here. A lot of energy in this room, and it says a lot about what's going on here on Broadway and the future of this community. I want to thank Alderman Johnson. He's made a change in this city, and I like to think I made a little bit of a change, but it takes the people. There's a lot of ideas, there's quite a bit of money out there, but you really need the people to bring the change to reality, and Brian's done that. I was just delighted that he won his election, and to couple that with the leadership here on Broadway, he's a very important person here in the city of Green Bay, and Brian, I just want to thank you. I think you're awesome to work with, and respect everything you're doing on Broadway. Brian's going to go through some of the X's and O's of what we've accomplished here on Broadway and some of the future plans we have. He's going to talk a little bit about breakthrough. I'm so delighted with the Shipyard redevelopment that's going to be taking place very soon. Last week we had some investors in town. We have investors in town a lot here in Green Bay. I brought them to Broadway, of course, as I always do, and we participated in the ribbon cutting program. Boom. Not sure I'm going to be a customer there with all that, apparatuses and things to work out in, but and then, they stayed at the Hotel Martha, of course. We had dinner at the Public Job House and toured some of the housing we had in Green Bay, the type of town, our type of town, the real type of town, the city's type of town. Right? I mean, that place was awesome. That's the history. Then we went out to Lambeau Land and toured that as well. And they were most impressed with On Broadway. Just hands down. These are Northern Illinois investors, and just really like what you have going on here. That this is very special and very unique and eclectic, and So we were just delighted with their response to On Broadway. And I just really encourage you to keep this going. You're going to have a new mayor in, what, 4 or 5 weeks. And, you know, I listened. I was on TV this morning. I don't know if everybody watched that. I know Wendy did. Thank you for watching that, Wendy. But I'm on there every other Tuesday. Just talk about the election. Look, I know those guys are in the room, and but I'm a voter and I'm a past mayor. The challenge in the city is retention and recruitment of talent. That is the challenge we face right now, and it's not unique, but it's very difficult right now. And I'm reading a book that you can have when I'm done. I'll be done probably the next couple of days with it. But Mick Cornett wrote it, and it talks about, I'm going to call tier 2 cities. The growth isn't going to be in Houston and New York and Chicago. The growth is going to be in cities where there's livability, which means that you can live pretty comfortably on a variety of salaries, but has a national presence, so we check that box, and has amenities for people who are, there's more 28-year-olds alive than any other age in the country. And there's a lot of us who are 55, 60 that also, have some needs. And there's cities that are attracting us right now: Madison, Oklahoma City, Pensacola, and Green Bay needs to be one of those cities. And we can do that. We have the makings to really elevate ourselves. And when you look at this room, if we could double the size of people who participate in events like this, it just bode well for the city of Green Bay. We're very close to making this right. We have a lot of the amenities, and when you read through some of these things and study demographics, it's like, wow, we have that. We have that. We're going to have that. And we're going to get to this whole coal pile thing. We have a big meeting coming up Wednesday, tomorrow at 10 o'clock, and I'm telling you that, these things take time. I say that. I said about Northland, I said about Bay Beach. Good things take time, but that's going to happen. And we're going to get those things relocated. It's going to open up another 36 acres of land for you to redevelop in a very strategic way. So just, keep the faith. I appreciate all you. I know so many of you in here, and I just want to thank you for my last 16 years serving the city of Green Bay. It's just been my pleasure. I miss this job a lot, but on the other hand, I know when it's time to go, and it's time for someone else to take over, and they're not going to be successful without your support. So keep supporting the city of Green Bay, and especially here in the Broadway District. Thank you. God bless you.
I feel like I should bow. That's a great. I stepped into that at the right time. So anyway, thank you, Mayor. Okay, so as the Mayor said, we're going to get into some of the X's and O's. We're going to talk about what the Broadway District has been up to over the past year or two, in addition to where we're moving in the next couple of years. And so today's going to be more of a strategic discussion, but we're going to use examples of things that we've worked on and things that we've done to illustrate some of the progress that we're making. So I want to set the context for this. Can you guys see this screen? I know that the screen's a little small, but I want to make sure that you guys can get a good look. And so sometimes I think it's forgotten. It just got louder. Sometimes I think it's forgotten what defines the Broadway District. And so what you see here is a map. Of course, this is the east side of the river. This is the west side of the river. Over here you have the downtown district. Here you have the old Main District. This is the Broadway District. I think most people, when they think of the Broadway District, they think of this 2-block stretch here between Walnut Street and Main Street. And without a doubt, that is where the bulk of the activity goes on within our district. But I think it's important to recognize that the Broadway District goes all the way down to the Macy Street overpass, and it goes all the way to Mather Street. And it includes, the new community shelter down here and some of the other businesses down in that area. So we have a fairly large footprint, which means that our attention, while initially and for many years has been focused on the core is successful and it is thriving now. One of our biggest metrics of success is occupancy rates. And right now, if you are a retailer in the Broadway District, it is not as easy to find space as what it might have been 10 or 15 years ago. And so when we start to develop on our strategic plan, we start to look at outside of that core and where we're going to migrate in terms of development over the next couple of years. So to set the stage for this, On Broadway is a designated Wisconsin Main Street community. There are about 30 of us within the state of Wisconsin, in addition to what I would call Tier 2 community connects, or connect communities. So We are one of the earliest adoptees into the Main Street program, but here you can see the dots of the different programs across the state. Why does this matter? Because we are a Wisconsin Main Street program, we follow the National Main Street program. We have a 4-point approach that is a tried, proven, and tested method of how to create successful downtowns. And I'm going to go through each one of these, but to give you an overview, the first is economic vitality, the second is design, organization, and promotion. So what do these mean? Organization. Organization means that you have a strong foundation. And I'm going to be very clear that when I first came into this organization, this was probably the pillar or the point for us that required the most amount of attention. This means that you have a strong volunteer base. Financially, you are sound. It means that you have strong board leadership. So when you can kind of combine all of those things together, you can successfully create a pillar here that will move your organization forward. And so here are just a few photos of some of our many volunteers that give, well, this past year, over 2,000 hours to our organization. And so in addition, it also means strong partnerships. And so this is a photo of a number of us on the top there, a collaborative project that we do with downtown Green Bay and Old Main Street. And I want to recognize their staff who is here, Jeff Marcus, and I see Catherine and Emily and Pam. But working with that team has been such a great pleasure and such a great benefit to the Broadway District. And additionally, a strong working relationship with the Convention and Visitors Bureau. I saw Brad Toll is here as well today, so thank you, Brad, for coming out. These partnerships are really critical to a long-term successful district, and so we are very excited to continue to strengthen those relationships. And then on the organization side too, it's making sure that we do things that are noteworthy, that are award-winning. We are very excited about a project that we had done this past year that Sam in particular had led, the Better Block project, and we had partnered with the Green Bay Public Arts Commission as well as the City of Green Bay to create a really unique piece of art and a really unique experience that we're going to showcase in a minute here that won us a Mayor's Beautification Award. And this is a blank slide. These are not very fun to look at. Man down. Okay. Well, we're just going to skip a few of these, I guess. So one of the things that I want to talk about that is probably in the slides that we skipped over, and it's a really important thing for us to talk about because we've kind of shied away from this discussion, but it is publicly available information. And as I mentioned before, one of our greatest weaknesses was that we were financially not in a very stable situation 3 years ago. We were down to our last $1,000 in our checking account. We had lost almost $500,000 in 2 years. And that was our biggest challenge when I came into this role, was confronting that and understanding that if we don't change that, if we don't prioritize that above everything else, we will not be here in a few years. And so what did we do? And again, you're going to unfortunately not see some of the numbers that were there. But we changed the way that we fundamentally operate as an organization. We made very difficult sacrifices. We cut a lot of expenses. And we did it at sometimes to the detriment of our organization. But we knew it was for the long-term greater good for the Broadway District. And one of the things, again, that you're not going to see there that we can actually that'll be said here, I'm proud to say that 2018 was a record-setting revenue year for us at On Broadway. It was the highest amount of revenue we've ever taken from the organization. Record-setting net income for us as an organization, which is anybody who's an accounting geek and loves spreadsheets like I do, you know that income and revenue are two different things. Now that's not necessarily something we're proud of, and here's why. As nonprofit organizations, you can't be afraid to function like a business. If you lose money, you can't stay in business, even as a nonprofit. But ideally for us, when we generate income, that income is invested directly back into the district. And so it is important for us to generate income, but normally you won't see that on a financial statement because we've spent it back into the district. However, when you incur significant losses, you have to pay for that somehow. And so income for us was a real high priority over the last 2 years, and we've done that in the last 2 years. We've set significant income objectives, and we've met those. We've set record-setting in-kind support. This is really important because it means that people are investing in us and they value what we offer to them. We had over, I think it was close to $150,000 of in-kind support from many businesses and partners, many of you probably in this room today. Diversified growth. One of the big things that we focused on was how are we generating our revenue? So sponsorship revenue, for example, has tripled in the last couple of years. That's very significant investment because it shows that the business community believes in what we're doing. 2,100 volunteer hours, which has a $50,000 value. And I want to credit the staff for that because we re-engage volunteers to believe in what we're doing and want to spend their time. You have choices with what you do with your time, and they're not choosing Broadway again. And one of the cool things for us, On Broadway moved to On Broadway. What a novelty, right? So we're very excited to be a part of the rail yard development down here in the north end of the district, and we'll be there for many years to come. So let's talk about the promotion pillar of what we do. Promotion is more than just events, though. Promotion is also marketing. It's promoting the district. It's creating a brand for who we are and what we do. We're oftentimes known, sometimes not known, meaning that I don't know that people know that we organize some of these things, but why we do promotion, why we do events like the Farmers Market on Broadway. We picked up the Festival of Foods Fire over the Fox event last year. In some of these other events, it's to bring foot traffic into the business. We are attracting visitors that might not otherwise come visit our businesses down here in the district that might not want to spend time in this space. And so that is a big part of what we do. I missed something. Oh, I know what this is. This is a slide that shows the number of events that we've grown. So again, 3 years ago, we were at 26 events. This past year, in 2019, we are projecting to be at 52 events that we are hosting in the district. And it's funny, right? Because when I first took this job, I said that On Broadway can and should be more than just events. So of course, my first reaction was, let's do more events. Makes sense, right? And so, but it was a really important piece of stabilizing the organization. Because one of the slides that didn't come up before, a significant chunk of our revenue comes from events. In fact, 50% of our revenue comes from events. And so that is a really important piece of what we do. I know, it's hard, right, to have us up here, and I can see people giggling, but promotion is, how do we promote our district and our businesses? And here's a little photo shoot, Jeff Merkis and I having some fun, where we were collaborating to promote people to come shop downtown, and Leah Weicker is up there as well with the Military Avenue Business Improvement District. And so we partner on a lot more projects right now, which is very exciting for us as an organization because it's better for our district and better for our businesses in every district. This is another example of promotion, the Summer in the City guide that we put out. Over 60,000 copies of that go out every year. We partner with Downtown Green Bay to distribute that publication. And something that actually we're going to hit on a little bit, which is regarding some updates to our website. And the next thing that we do is we are much more encouraging of outsiders to come into our district and host successful events. Chelsea worked on a really great document to help educate people on how to host an event in the Broadway District, because there's some boxes that you really ought to check, and part of it is the way you engage the businesses, making sure you're permitted properly, and it's because we want to encourage people, because in fact, if we don't have to do the events, that's great, because that means our energy and time and resources can be spent on something more productive, oftentimes for the district. But we do events because we want to attract visitors, and events like this help catalyze that very same thing. How many people in this room knew that the marathon was moving to downtown Green Bay? So not everybody. This is why we have these conversations. The marathon is moving from, it's still going to run through Lambeau Field, but its start and finish lines are going to be here in downtown Green Bay, and that is a very exciting thing for us. The Tall Ships Festival, which we're going to have someone speak to in a minute here, is returning. We're excited about that. Untitled Town, and our partnership with Refuge Foundation for the Arts and the Hopeland Music Festival. These events bring thousands and probably hundreds of thousands of people down to our district, and that is a really critical number. This is a really fun thing that we've been working on this past year. How many of you voted for us in the Levitt concert series? Thank you so much. Folks, we are only one of 3 organizations nationally that are brand new to this series this year. One of 3. This is why this is cool, because this is more than a concert series. This is more than a music series. This is about promoting social equity within our community, and is a really strong underlying pin to what the Levitt is all about. We've partnered up with Hopeland Music Festival and Refuge Foundation for the Arts. I think, are you guys here? I know they're going to try to, but and Fox Communities Credit Union is here, and so But one of the cool things that we're doing with this is it'll be a concert series that starts July 4th. We're going to kick it off during the 4th of July celebration, and it'll run all the way up to the Hopeland Music Festival, which then will kind of take over for that weekend after that. You know, something that was kind of exciting, you guys can't tell, that is Times Square. So Green Bay got a little bit of love the day that they announced the recipients of that. So we are famous in our own way. So some of the accomplishments from under the promotion pillar, we hosted 38 events, which was a 31% increase. 348,000 attendees is our estimate. Is that number right? Who knows, right? If anybody's out there with a clicker, I'd love to see that. But we do use some formulas that really help us get that number as close as possible, which is a 40% increase. And then, of course, all the district branding that we've done. Now, design is the next pillar. Design is really critical. Design is what creates a sense of space, and that's what helps determine where people want to spend their time. If you don't have good design, you will not have a space where people want to be. If you think about it, I mean, even in your own homes, right? You're going to spend time in a room that you're most attracted to. And so we're very focused on public art over this next year. This was an example of the Better Block project and some art installation that Laura Schley from the Public Arts Commission did. This was a community mural, which is really exciting. These are some other pieces that were done during the Hopeland Music Festival. It's about creating, again, that sense of space. How do you activate space so that people want to spend time there? Doing decorative things with what I would call boring streetscape things, like benches and garbage cans. And how do you take something as simple as cinder blocks, put a coat of paint on it, and now you have a bench that can be used for seating. And then, and what I love about this is an example of a business who's doing something really cool down in our district. This was part of the Better Block initiative as well. How do you make a walkway feel safer? And when cars kind of come and approach that area and they can recognize that it's a walkway. Decor, seasonal decor is a really important piece of what we do. People appreciate seasonal decor. And of course, our former governor, Tommy Thompson, and now Senator Andre Jacques, and just the utilization of a mural in the district. How do you brighten up dark spaces and alleyways? In fact, what prompted the Better Block project for us was recognizing that we have parking available in the district. People were just afraid to walk to it because the alleyways leading to it were dark. And so we wanted to just lighten up some of these places. And so this is just a quick video that was put together by, I think Shelby, you did this, right? No, Matt did it. Matt from the city of Green Bay. How do we play? The way you play is delegate. little bit of background on this project. Better Block Project is a national initiative that's designed to address underutilized spaces within your community. And in our case, we recognized Dousman Street as that space. Matt Buchanan from the city of Green Bay had done one of these projects in St. Joseph, Missouri. And Matt and I, several years ago, when he first came to Green Bay, sat down and talked about this. We're kind of like, yeah, that's a cool idea. And like many other ideas, they get tabled until the right opportunity comes forward. And in this case, it was a property owner who said, Brian, I'm having a parking problem. I said, Skip, you don't have a parking problem. What you have is individuals who don't recognize where the parking is. And so we said, hey, what if we just lightened up the alleyways and people came through? Well, you know, like many projects we do, it starts with let's light the alleyways into let's do this huge initiative where we bring in, you know, thousands of dollars of in-kind support and hundreds of hours of volunteer time, and let's build a better block. And so, and that left some permanent improvements, but it also, and more importantly, was a visual exercise of what you can do with space when you properly assess its true value. And so we actually are working on now some additional design initiatives to help kind of brighten up that little space of Broadway that I think will have a great permanent lasting effect for a long time. And so when we look at the design committee in particular and what they did, Better Block Project, we have a pocket park that's actually, we've laid the groundwork for it this year. It's going to come this spring when Sam is coordinating during YP Week. Pocket park build out, so anybody who wants to come help us out on that day in April, more information will be coming. We've seen an increase in public art installation, and we've updated our design plan to reflect some of the development that is going on in both the shipyard and the rail yard. We're going to talk about those in a minute. And so as we look to 2019, public art, streetscape design, streetscape investment will continue to be a huge priority for us because that is something that we haven't been able to prioritize in the last couple of years, and so we want that to rise back to the top. Economic vitality. This is the health of your district, right? This is that you have strong businesses, you have diverse businesses. You know, one of the things that we did during Better Block Project was we took a vacant space, one of the few that we have in the district, or at least in the core, and we did a couple of pop-up businesses. We worked with Known Games, we worked with Great Harvest to come in and show us that this is what this space could look like, and the result was actually several inquiries into leasing of that space, and so we're still working with some prospective tenants there. But the idea was, let's see what this looks like. You know, when people can kind of, you create, again, that visual exercise, you get people to think about what it looks like. Economic vitality is also meeting the housing needs of your district. We always say that there are three successful pillars to a downtown district. One is that you have a great housing stock, that you have people who work there, and that you have people who recreate there. So this is a great project that the city of Green Bay did. Love Here, Live Here is a housing initiative that we have that says, let's take a look at the homes in our immediate residential neighborhood, and let's give them a little extra love. If you love the Broadway District, why don't you live here? And can we get people to invest in some of these homes? In this census tract here, 70% of the homes are rental units. We feel that number's too high. We do believe rental units are important to a district. We believe that they're especially important to a downtown district. But we also recognize that when you're disproportionate too far in one direction or the other, that's not healthy. And so this was an example of a home that the city of Green Bay, through some of the neighborhood enhancement funds, purchased and renovated and put it back on the tax rolls at a much higher value property with home ownership. And this was a great success story. Also in economic vitality, Breakthrough Fuel. What a huge announcement this was for the Broadway District. I know Doug Miller and Heather are here from Breakthrough Fuel. Thank you for making this investment in the Broadway District. There are a couple of other... I think it's important to know, folks, businesses like this have options. Every business has an option. They have a choice. But we have businesses every day that are choosing the Broadway District. And that is exciting. And that is because when you focus on this 4-point approach, you create a space that people want to be a part of. And now the construction of this project and this investment is only going to make that southern end of our district stronger and better. And we're absolutely thrilled to have you come join us down here. Speaking of development on the southern end of the district, now we have the northern end of the district, and that's the rail yard. And I know Karen, I saw you here. from Base Companies, Brent Weicker, with Titletown Brewing and DDL Holdings. Thank you as well, you guys, for making this investment in our district, because these were two huge, actually, I don't know, technically I think 4 warehouses probably, right? They're split in the middle, but these things could have seen a chopping block. And I love that something that Brent said to me one time, these old historic buildings, when you take them down, you never get them back. And old historic properties are what create the charm of our district. And if we lose that, we lose a significant piece of ourselves. And so I am so thrilled to see the investment that these guys have made down there to not only preserve those warehouses, but open up some additional land for development. And so this here, folks, when you're looking at it, this is the chamber building right here in the corner. This, of course, is that first series of warehouses that is almost occupied now. And this is where the On Broadway office moved into. We're going to get you another logo to drop right there. And then this is the Northern Warehouse building, which is currently being renovated. I saw Katie has some Big Brothers Big Sisters here. They were the first tenant to commit to that space. And that building is now being built out. There are several other tenants that are taking interest in a look at that space. We're very excited to welcome them into the district. What you're going to see starting April 1st, contracts have already been let out. Kellogg Street is going to get connected here. Donald Driver Way is going to go all the way through. And we're going to bring Bond Street down here to connect as well. And why these are important is because this is what has allowed the development of 8 townhomes that are currently under construction on that site. And additionally, another big project right there that we're going to talk about, which is the Broadway Lofts. This is a 107-unit working class development. This is a $20 million development. This is huge for us because it increases the residential density in downtown, and it continues to, it is properly utilize what is obviously very underutilized space because it is empty right now. So we're excited and thrilled to be able to offer some affordable housing units down here in the district. And I want to be clear about something. Working class, these are a lot of times your individuals, could be your teachers, could be your servers, right? A lot of individuals that want to live close to where they work, and a lot of times maybe those high-end apartments are a little bit out of their reach, and so this continues to add to the diversified housing stock that we have in our downtown area. And this is and this here is a rendering again of the townhomes that are currently under construction. The Reardon family from Cellcom has made a big investment into this development, and we're excited to see these get off the ground as well, continuing to add to those housing options. And this is just kind of a before and after rendering of, this would actually be the cannery, I think, in the Titletown tap room in that area. What a huge investment, what a great attraction that's become for our district. And, you know, one of the things that they say in economic development, if you want to spur growth, bring in a brewery. So thank you, Brent, for deciding to expand. T2 Accelerator, just another kind of before and after example of what the insides of these buildings look like. They are beautiful spaces, and there is space available in that northern building, commercial space. So if anybody is looking for relocation options, come see me after. So economic vitality, we saw $4.2 million in private investment in the district last year. That is a very significant number, up 56% from, who's clapping? Yeah, you should do that, do more of that. We attracted 10 new businesses to the district, a net of 36 new jobs, but most importantly, new construction. This might come as a surprise, folks, but we had 4 projects announced, one that actually broke ground last year. 4 new construction projects in the rail yard, or excuse me, the Broadway Lofts, the rail yard townhomes, the Shipyard project, and Breakthrough Fuel. It's been over a decade since the Broadway District saw a new construction project, and we had announcements or shovels in the ground on 4 last year. Now that doesn't mean that redevelopment hasn't been occurring. In fact, redevelopment has been the staple of what we do, but new construction was very exciting for us because as we start to look at the future of the district, when the core is healthy, infill development becomes our priority, and that means new construction. We have a great new tool that actually I would like to mention. How many here have heard of opportunity zones? How many here know how they work? That's more people than all of Congress who actually passed the legislation. So these are very complicated development tax credits, but what's exciting for us, is the Broadway District lies entirely within an opportunity zone. This is the single most significant economic development tool available to local communities since TIF was created. And so we are very excited to be able to learn how that actually functions and operates so that we can leverage it appropriately for investment in our district. And I know that the city of Green Bay is very much on top of this, and we'll be working on that. So with that, I want to introduce to you, as I guess we did earlier, Sam Moss. She's going to talk about something new and exciting.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for coming out. Again, my name is Sam. It's so nice to see all these faces excited to learn what we're doing with On Broadway and our Broadway District. I want to personally talk about one of my exciting tasks that I've been working on with downtown Green Bay and Old Main Street. Chelsea back there has helped a lot with our new website. So this new website is downtowngreenbay.com. You are in the right place if you're looking for the Broadway District. It is actually a website to encompass all of downtown Green Bay. So it has the 3 bid districts in it. There's still, as we'll go through, it differentiates the different bids in certain areas, but most importantly, we wanted to make sure that we made this a user-friendly website for all people to look at things downtown related. When you're going to go downtown and you want to go to eat, you're going to look at restaurants. You aren't going to be looking necessarily at specific districts. So we took these sort of different pieces of information and decided to make something that is new, exciting, and much more user-friendly. So we'll go through a few screenshots just to show you a few different key features of the website, but I definitely encourage all of you to go look at it afterwards, explore, and check it out. This right here is the main page. There's a little bit more down on the bottom of it, but this is your main page to find all the different tabs that you'll need to use. And then at the bottom, you'll notice we have a footer on every page that has 3 different districts and all of our contact information. And then we also have things like, for example, subscribing or finding the winter in the city or summer in the city guides on our website. So all these different pieces are going to be also incorporated on this too. This is an exciting feature that we have on most all of our pages for the businesses. If you can see, I know it's kind of hard to see far away, but this is a map, and it's very similar if you use Google Maps or anything like that. All of the businesses are actually marked on this, and it's user-friendly, so you can zoom in and look around, click on the different map markers and see the different businesses, and then they're all color-coded to each of the different bids. You can understand this business is in the Broadway District, this business is downtown Green Bay, so on and so forth. So we're really excited to have that feature to be a visual piece on this new piece of work. Underneath, we have, when you click on a certain business, on the very bottom you can scroll down and they'll have nearby shopping, nearby dining, and nearby parking. So we're hoping that this will be another feature if people are visiting Green Bay, especially for the first time if they aren't familiar with things like parking or where to eat. This will let them know what's close by and keep them hanging out and spending more time in downtown. This is a picture of how the businesses are listed right underneath the map that we looked at that's user-friendly. All of the businesses will be listed under their certain categories, shopping, dining, services, so on and so forth. And then they'll also be color-coded for the districts as well. You will see this all through the entire website. It's just another way to make sure people understand this is Broadway, this is downtown, or this is Old Main. The events. I know we have a lot of events going on in downtown and everyone wants to stay up to date on them. This is where you're going to want to go. This will have our full list of events of all of the different districts, but also any events that the businesses are hosting in any of the bids. You can't see it super well, it's kind of tiny, but right under downtown events, anyone who is hosting events, you can submit an event here and then we will approve it and it will also go on the calendar so you can share that with anyone and everyone. Employment opportunities. This is another great way to share any job positions that you would like to post, or if you're looking for a job yourself. We'll have them all listed on the website. People can submit them again here as well, and it's another resource for you to share that information. Developments. I know Brian covered a lot of new and exciting things happening in our district, but there are a lot of new and exciting things happening all over downtown. So they will be listed under developments, and they will be linked so you can continue to learn more This is all very exciting information, so feel free to check that out and do some more research on those. And then the About Us. So again, like I said, we are still on Broadway as a specific organization, so we want to make sure we call out our organization as well as the other 2 districts. So when you go to About Us, you can see there's 3 different boxes. You still will be able to learn about On Broadway as well as the 2 other organizations. We just want to make sure people understand the differences, but when they're using the website for other things such as spending time in downtown in general, they kind of have the best of both worlds. Find things, but also make sure they know what the Broadway District is. And before I switch this over, I also just want to note for any business owners in here or anyone else who might be interested, there are these sheets on the back table when you signed in. If you're interested in getting this little cheat sheet of how to submit an event or submit a job posting, different things like that, feel free to grab one of these on your way out. They're very handy for getting to use this website and kind of understand how it all works. So I hope everyone enjoys it. Make sure you check it out.
I just really want to commend the downtown and of course the On Broadway staff for really working very diligently over the last few months to bring this product together. What we really recognize is that from a user perspective, especially from a visitor perspective, you weren't going to multiple websites to figure out what was going on in our community. So this really makes a better product, not only for those visiting our community, but it's going to get that much more traction and attention for the businesses in our respective districts. So kudos to your team. One of the things that I actually, as you were going through and highlighting the shopping, it was a point that I really wanted to make. I want everybody in the room to say this with me right now. Retail is not dead. Ready? Retail is not dead. Retail has changed. And there's a very important distinction. 90% of all shopping still occurs in a storefront. 90%. And so that is important to recognize. And who are the winners in this retail shift? A lot of times it's the artisan shops and the small boutiques that exist here in the Broadway District and in all of our downtown areas. So please think of these businesses when you are doing your shopping. With that, I would like to introduce to you Brendan Bruss, who is with PMI Entertainment Group, because he's going to share a little bit with you about a very significant event coming to downtown Green Bay this year. Brendan.
Just a personal note too, my wife Stephanie has owned and operated designs in the interior at 201 North Broadway now. She's going on her 19th year on Broadway, 17th year at the building at 201. So she's seen a lot of change and we're invested. So if you see me loading up the dumpsters on the weekends, I'm not fly dumping. I'm here to talk about Nicolay Bay Tall Ships. PMI Entertainment Group is proud to present. This will be the 7th time Tall Ships has come to downtown. It is a major event. In the last month, you wonder, well, it gives new meaning to the term. Everybody says there's 2 seasons in Green Bay, right? Winter and the 4th of July. Well, we're hoping July. We all know that's not true, though. We all hope July 25th is equally spectacular because it takes a lot to bring this event into town. What a lot of people don't realize is actually Tall Ships is part of a challenge. So the whole Great Lakes region throughout the summer, there's actually 11 ports that bring tall ships into their communities. There are 6 in the U.S., 5 in Canada. There's only 2 on Lake Michigan this time around. Chicago is not doing it this year, and also Duluth up in Superior is not doing it. So in the Wisconsin, Minnesota, Illinois region, Green Bay and Kenosha will be the only 2 ports. So we think that's actually a huge advantage to us because Green Bay has supported this event tremendously, and I think we have a brand that's been built with tall ships coming to Green Bay. Estimated economic impact: 60,000 attendees, 7,200 room nights, $4.3 million. It is spread over 4 days, so it's actually coming in. We're doing it a little earlier this year, July 25th, Thursday night. Ships arrive late afternoon. Friday opening ceremonies. Friday night, we're still planning a nice fireworks display, some other activities on the grounds, and then on Saturday, all-day festivals. And of course, if you've been there, all the sailaways are being planned throughout the weekend. So, very exciting time. The tall ship activities. Nicolay Bank obviously has been the primary tremendous sponsor of this event, but we have other Crest Foundation Educational Stage, Myron Construction with the world's largest rubber duck. We call it the world's largest selfie or Instagram station. Thunderland Entertainment Stage, Dunkin' Donuts Kids Zone, NCMMA's Shipyard, we're gonna have fireworks, family day. A lot of activities planned. 9 ships coming. Some of the highlights, we have the Santa Marina replica you see in the upper left from Spain. Picton Castle and Blue News are from Nova Scotia. And then a lot of the returnees, traditional sailway ships, the Windy, Appledore, Pride of Baltimore. And when they're all lined up on the, if you've been there or just seen them all lined up for that weekend, it's a spectacular setting, and it really defines this area and makes people realize what an unbelievable spot this is in the city. So it's coming in July. Pray for good weather. I mean, Green Bay never gets 50-mile-an-hour winds, right? So we're excited. That's all I have.
All right, thank you, Brendan, for sharing that update. We're, like I said, very thrilled to see another very exhaustive, extensive event occurring here in the district. With that, it's my pleasure to introduce to you the Development Director for the City of Green Bay, Kevin Fonk, who's going to talk to us and give us some updates about the Shipyard Development. Kevin.
Thanks for having me, Brian. Thanks for being here today. So I'd like to talk a little bit, provide an update on the Shipyard. So for those of you who may not be familiar, but I think most of you all are, our Shipyard area is just to the very southern end of the Broadway District, all the way down Broadway near the Mason Street overpass. And so I was a little bit nervous because I was thinking about this event last year, and probably one of the lowest times in the city. This event was probably just after a few days that a certain baseball team told us that they were leaving for extra walk-on. And so, after spending really, 2 years working on a development deal to really kind of revitalize this area that had been sitting owned for, close to 40 years. We were so close. We were right there, ready to get something done, and then just fell apart. And basically, this is what we were left with right here, right? Just the way it's looked for the last, few decades, and an empty, vacant piece of property. But one of the things, I think came out of, this group, the businesses on Broadway, our city staff, the neighbors, the residents, and the community was, really great support for doing something with this piece of property. It was high time, as Brian had mentioned, to get some new construction, to get some investment in Broadway. And, a lot of things have been going on within the community, but here's an opportunity that, we weren't just going to let go. And so with that, I think, we doubled down and really made a commitment. And what we've got, what I feel, I think what the city feels and our community feels, is something that's going to kick a little stadium's ass down the street. So really what I think that what we did is we really wanted to kind of step back, and the discussion had always been, how can we do something that really appeals to the widest segment of our community? How can we generate users, all different types, all different age groups? Really making this a welcoming space for our community. And so what we came up with in a few short months, through working with a consultant, Cunningham out of Minneapolis, through our team at the city and some neighborhood input, working with On Broadway, was a concept to make this really a premier recreation, multi-use destination. And so we moved really from this stadium concept to focus that focused on sports to one that provided a lot more amenities and a lot more opportunity. So the 3 big components that are part of the new Shipyard plan. One is some type of sports, athletic field, something to be out and active, to activate that waterfront space, to get out, play sports, both in the summer. Of course, we do all our renderings and beautiful summer colors, but also, in the winter, sledding and skating and those types of things. Secondly, is to provide some additional amenities on the west side of the river. It's really important. There's limited access, especially in this neighborhood, to be able to get to the river. So to provide the ability to get to the water and in fact get down to the water, through docks, a kayak launch, things like an urban beach. We're looking at a splash pad, playground. Really things that provide amenities for that neighborhood and our community. And then the third was also trying to tie into the vibrant business community that we have here. And so this concept that we looked at is basically called a container park. We'll probably come up with a cool, catchy name for it. But really what we wanted to do is we felt there's a gap in our community between those entrepreneurs who are working in their basement or in their garage creating something, from taking that, really right now your only choice is to kind of go from the garage and move into a brick and mortar establishment. And with that, can come a lot of risk, a lot of overhead, and in some cases it doesn't work out. And what we wanted to do is provide an opportunity for those entrepreneurs to kind of scale their business and test some concepts out, through this container park concept. So we're looking at taking, still determining a final number, but a few dozen shipping containers and putting them in an area where you can basically move in and really targeting food, beverage, retail operations, and kind of have this semi-permanent structure where we'll probably start seasonally, but then hopefully expand into a year-round opportunity, where it's just a place to really kind of test out your business and grow your business and figure out what's the best direction to really help you succeed as a business person. So with those three concepts, what we've been working on now, this came out last spring. So since that time that we announced this, again, Doug, Heather Miller here, really appreciate their investment in the shipyard. Breakthrough is a really great company. I think it's a great company in the fact that ties it to our industrial heritage in terms of transportation, logistics, but it's totally taking it in a new direction by carving out a niche when it comes to technology and how it integrates basically a new way of thinking when it comes to transportation and logistics. And so we really appreciate them, working with them and their team, Commercial Horizons and Performa, to really design a state-of-the-art building that's really going to make a statement on our waterfront. I think it's really important for us as we define who we are as a city. I always say those shots, right? The commercials, the lead in, lead up, the packet names, like these are the type of things that we want to see. These buildings, these structures are vibrant downtown. I don't even know anybody who lives on a farm anymore. All these shots of cows and the pastures and everything. We're building a pretty vibrant skyline, and this is going to be an amenity that really, I think, really starts to define this particular district and who Green Bay really is as a city. We've also been working on, part of this program was talking about, well, we're not just going to build an amenity on the waterfront. We're going to invest in that neighborhood. And so we committed over 3 years to putting $1 million into that neighborhood from a variety of funding sources. And with that, we had our team from the city. So our team, can you raise your hands? I know I see a few of you here. All right, putting together the shipyard investment strategy. Basically saying, all right, where's the best way to put this money, and what are some of the things that we can target in the neighborhood around the shipyard? So we basically took from the rail yard, the inner Polden rail yard on the south, all the way up to Walnut, and then from Ashland east to the river. And really looked at that neighborhood and found out, going around and looking at the stock of the housing, the buildings in there, where could some structures use some help, and what type of help could they use in terms of, are there things like, big things like roof and windows, siding, where are some ways we could look to put money into these properties to help, make them more safe and make them more attractive in this neighborhood. And then, taking beyond that and also looking at what are some of the other ways that we can leverage some of our other programs to increase home ownership in the district, to convert rentals into owner-occupied, or to provide different housing products that we don't have here yet in the city. So with the, back on the shipyard site itself, we've also been working, doing a lot of public outreach, and how do we kind of take that conceptual design and turn it into what we're actually going to build. And so last winter, really engaged the public a lot in trying to figure out, if you can spot them, both mayoral candidates are in that picture somewhere, so we can see them there. But looking at, all right, well, we talked about doing, athletic field, some waterfront amenities and a container park, but what does that really mean? And what do we really want to see there? And so, both through some public forums and some online surveys where I think we got a lot of great responses, some of the things that people don't want to see, or just maybe aren't as high up there, sports, in terms of organized sports, did not come out as high as initially anticipated. When we talk about Shipyard, we're not talking about like Vikings or those kind of old-fashioned tall ship kind of ships. So I think that's a little different thought in terms of how we're going to brand this area. Definitely don't want to dome it. So despite this never-ending winter here, I think there's a commitment to still being outside. And as far as skating and those types of sports, those are things that really weren't preferred by the community. But what we do want to see is, when it comes to the shoreline, a real variety of treatments. So people really love the natural shoreline, just paying homage to what was there originally. Or, some degree of mixture, this hybrid shoreline where we have some, man-made features that allow us to get down to the water. People also want to see an urban beach. This is going to be different than the beach at Bay Beach. It's going to be more designed for recreating and swimming. This is really just a place that really juxtaposes in an urban context with a lot of structures with the ability to just get out and play or lay in the sand. And then as far as, again, some of the amenities that we want to see, there's still a commitment to winter sports, wanting to be able to get outside and have some organized activities. Definitely a high preference for concerts and events and providing another space, especially for On Broadway and a lot of other organizations, to have these large events and festivals. The container park, again, working to make sure we have these opportunities for business owners and entrepreneurs. And then again, amenities for kids as well. So how can we do things that are creative and really kind of cutting edge, and they're going to make this a premier destination for our area. So we are in the midst of all those things right now. We hope to unveil kind of the new conceptual plans for that area within a few weeks. And with that, we'll continue to work with our other partners and start moving some dirt this spring. So thank you again for all your support of this, and Brian for what you're doing and supporting us in our efforts at the city.
All right, thank you, Kevin, for that update. I hope everybody in this room understands what a treasure it is to have Kevin work for the city of Green Bay. He is literally one of the best in the business, and we are very fortunate to have him as part of our team. I used to be a bow tie guy too. I like to think it's because I looked up to you, but then I realized I couldn't measure up, so I stopped wearing them. So Kevin is outstanding. Thank you, Kevin. Okay, we are on the home stretch here, folks. We just, every year we like to do a couple of volunteer recognition awards. This is an opportunity for us to recognize those people who go above and beyond with their contributions. And so for those that I call up, I just ask you that we're going to keep this moving quickly, so just come on up. We'll give you a certificate. We're going to have you slide over to the side and get a photo. So Shelby from the city has agreed to take some photos. Thank you, Shelby. So Sam, do you have the certificates there? So you could just, Sam, if you could just hand those out there over at the side. So the first person we're going to ask to come up is actually John Olson, who is our outgoing board member and our legal expertise. So John is going to be leaving us. He's moving in 6 months to New Orleans, and so we wish you and your family well.
Leaving all this behind. I like all of this except for the snow.
Oh, ditto. And I think there's a lot of businesses in the district that would agree with that. So City of Green Bay, if we could do anything about these snow plows in air, are you still here? Yes. Okay, and of course Nicole's not able to be here, but Nicole, for those who don't know, ran Sassy Girl. Nicole was just such a committed board member and volunteer at the district for so many years. She relocated to Florida, and so unfortunately can't be here with us today, but we will send her something, I guess, through the mail. So we'll work on that staff. But thank you, Nicole, for your use of service. And then we do what we call these 100-hour things. And I don't know if there's anybody in this district who doesn't know John. John, come on up. John does so much for this district. It's incredible. And in fact, I think we need to create a new category that says 1,000-hour volunteer, because he literally does put in that much time for this district. Thank you, John. Then next, I don't know many volunteers, folks, who climb a ladder and fall down and really do some damage to his knee and still come back. And so, Neil, thank you for everything you've done for the Broadway District. As you guys can see, he's still working out that injury. So thank you, Neil, for everything you do for us. Cher. So one of the things that when you kind of work for On Broadway, it becomes a family affair. Cher is Tawny's mother, and so we always make a point to recruit family members. So Cher, thank you for all the time you put in. And on that trend, I'm not sure if Chris is here. Chris is obviously Chelsea's mother, so Chris puts in way more than 100 hours every year as well. So thank you, Chris. And then we have an honorable mention. Will couldn't be here today. He's actually deployed, but this is Chelsea's husband. So going on the trend of family. Honorable mention are those people who maybe haven't quite reached the 100-hour mark, but still give a significant amount of time to the district each year. Thank you, Will. We just need to hit and stand guard in those dark alleys, and nobody will be afraid to walk down them. So, Chris, for the Green Bay Press Gazette. Chris, are you here? I'm not sure that he was able to make it. So, Chris, thank you. We have Dominic Marr. I think a few of these folks had to work today, so we're unable to make it. Thank you, Dominic. Michael. Michael, are you here? Okay, thank you, Michael. And so, folks, any individual in this room, whoever wants to get involved with what we do, please talk to Sam. Sam, raise your hand. Catch her after the event. I encourage you to do that. Sam will definitely find something for you to engage in that is meaningful for you as well. And then we have a couple of group volunteers. Fox Communities Credit Union. Come on up. Folks, not only are they significant investors in our programming and what we do, but we meet with you probably weekly, actually. So,
Feels like it.
And they connect us, they facilitate things, and they really work hard to not only, I guess, help the Broadway District succeed, but the events that they invest in, so that they are successful for our community. So, thank you for everything you do for us. This is not a picture of Associated Bank at any of our events, which was the lesson for me that we need to do a better job of taking some photos. But Associated Bank, do we have anyone here from Associated? Yep, please come on up. There you guys are. By the way, just a little bit more clarity, the group volunteers are organizations that kind of work together to help provide significant manpower through individual volunteer efforts throughout the year. And so collectively, they give that 100 hours or more. So thank you, Associated Bank. The next is the City of Green Bay. So City of Green Bay folks, not only, they're unique, right? Because not only do they help us on a daily basis. Matt Buchanan, Matt, raise your hand, is our bid liaison and handles everything that we need. We go to him and he directs us to the right place in City Hall. We work with people like Kevin on economic development, but they show up and they got dirty during the Better Block event and many of our other events. So City of Green Bay, let's have you folks come on up for a photo. Thank you. Sure that Ken was able to be here. Is there anyone here from VFW? So these folks help us with, the 4th of July, with Farmers Market. A lot of the veterans kind of come together and commit a lot of time throughout the district every year. We're very thankful to have their support as well. And Nicolay National Bank. I think we've got some folks here from Nicolay. Right, I saw you guys, right? Yep, come on up. Again, another great partner and an organization that we can turn to for almost every farmer's market and say, we need people, and they, will show up with an army of 10 folks in Nicolay shirts. And so thank you for everything, guys. Oh. John, you didn't see that, did you? Well, now you know. So, every year we get to give away one award that is very prestigious and very unique and significant. will not only be recognized here, but gets recognized at the state level during the Wisconsin Main Street Awards, and that is our Volunteer of the Year Award, folks, John Rocco. Come on up, John. Look at him. He's like a year and a half. I want to tell you something about John. This guy showed up on our doorstep 2 years ago and said, "I'm here." We said, "For what?" He said, "To do whatever you want." And we're like, "Okay, well, how about garbages?" Nobody likes to do garbage, right? You will never find somebody remove trash with a smile on their face like John does. And I mean, he does the trash. He comes out and he shovels snow in front of the corners and properties. He will literally walk up and down the streets here, just knocking on doors, talking to business owners, and asking the business owners what they need help with. And doesn't expect or ask for anything in return. He is truly a selfless person that has given literally thousands of hours to the success of the Broadway community. So thank you, John, for everything that you do. One final slide, folks. We were very fortunate to be a part of the Give Big Green Bay program. I hope everyone in this room had at least heard of it during the 24-hour online giving campaign. Dennis Bueller, I saw Dennis from the Greater Green Bay Community Foundation. What a great idea. Oh, there's Dennis. And I see Amber actually now in the back too from the foundation. But what a great idea to bring this to our community. This 24-hour online giving event, folks, generated $1.4 million for 40 nonprofits here in our community. Fantastic job. So why this matters for On Broadway is we were one of those 40 nonprofits. And so what we opted to do as a participant in this program is we've been working with artist Bo Thomas there in the back, who's sitting back there. All right. I love it when people just clap. I can be like popcorn and everyone will clap. See? So, but Bo and the design committee for On Broadway have been working on this mural for probably 2 years now, I think. And for us, it just really was a matter of prioritizing what was important to the district at any given time, and we feel that 2019 is the right time to bring this project forward. Give Big allowed us a platform to generate or raise funding for a majority of this project. We have a little bit of a ways to go yet. But this, folks, will be the single largest piece of public art in the city of Green Bay. And our hope and anticipation is that we'll be able to start this project in about August. This is the north end of the Du Bois Formal Wear building. I think, Jim, I saw you in here too, right? There he is. So thank you for offering this canvas up. What a beautiful piece of artwork that is intended to, I guess, represent those old-fashioned postcards that a lot of times you see in other communities. And every letter within that mural represents something significant or unique about the Broadway District. So Bo put a lot of care and time into the design of this piece, and we're very excited to be able to bring it to Green Bay. But like I said, we just have a little bit ways to go. So here in this room, thinks Green Bay needs more public art. Raise your hand. Let's see if you're great. Who here is willing to help make it happen? The guilt trip, right? Okay. So on your tables, you will see a postcard. This is your call to action before you leave today, and of course you can take it with you. But there is an online tab there where you can donate if you so choose. We encourage you to consider a contribution to this project. Like I said, we are 3/4 of the way to the fundraising for this project, but we are very excited to be able to make this a reality with your support and help. So with that, thanks again to Gather on Broadway for your sponsorship of today's event, and Copper Rock for providing the coffee. Enjoy your day. Oh, wait. We have prizes. Don't leave. What do we have? Copper State beer. Ooh, everyone is waiting in suspense now. Do you have a business card?
Oh, yeah.
All right, let's get it in here. All right.
Appreciate it.
Okay, is it 2 4-packs?
Yes.
Okay, so we've got the first 4-pack. Beth Lemke, Neville Public Museum. And the second one Emery Teskey from the Greater Convention Visitor Bureau. Thank you, everybody.
Sorry, sir.
I wanted the downtown one as well.
I have never won anything, and I won.
Yeah, you won the art court.
I won the art card